Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
Ron Fournier, who's been on the show many times, from the National Journal, was on Fox News Sunday, Congressman Brooks, saying this.
The fastest growing voting bloc in this country thinks the Republican Party hates them. This party, your party, cannot be the party of the future beyond November if you're seen as the party of white people.
Your reaction?
Well, this is a part of the war on whites that's being...
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. By the way, before we get to Congressman Mo Brooks, who made that statement there, I want to ask you, should the president be impeached? We're taking a poll, and you go to newsmax.com/Obama poll, newsmax.com/Obama poll, and vote. And you'll see the options there, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll get you the results as they become available. But right now, Congressman Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama, Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committees, thank you, sir, for joining us.
My pleasure.
Now, that was not your whole statement. I didn't want to take up the whole the bulk of the interview by playing your whole statement. I'd rather talk to you about it. Do you stick by your statement that the Democrats and Obama, and by separating the races or trying to, is conducting a war on whites?
Absolutely.
Okay, explain for those who didn't hear the whole statement on Laura Ingraham there.
Well, sure. Look at what the Democrats do on a regular basis. They appeal to specific racial groups by saying, we will protect you, that specific racial group. Now, who are they talking about protecting them from? Well, they're talking about protecting them from Republicans. But at the same time, what do they say about those Republicans? That they're whites. Okay, let's look at Senator Harry Reid recently when he was complaining about a Supreme Court decision. What did he say?
White men.
White men. Of course, one of them happened to be black, but
yes.
That would have interfered with the argument he was trying to make. And so the Democrats on a regular basis try to divide Americans up based on race. And I find that highly inappropriate. We ought to be making public policy decisions based on the merits of the public policy position and what is in the best interest of the United States of America. By way of example, I'm looking at a Washington Examiner article from 2012 in preparation for the 2012 election cycle, how the House Democrats are being trained to make race the issue. That to me is really sordid. It's repugnant. And when you get Steve Israel, who is the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee chairman, saying, well, the Republican base is animated by racism on CNN's State of the Union with Candy Crowley, when you have Nancy Pelosi saying that the Republican effort to secure the borders and protect us from this huge influx of illegal aliens is based on race. That's wrong. That divides our country. It doesn't unite our country. And then we have embedded it in federal statutes. What is the one race that can be discriminated against? As a matter of law,
Whites?
Which one is it?
White males?
Every other, well, not just white males, but all whites. Every other racial category under federal law has protected status. You cannot discriminate against them. Whites are treated differently. They can be discriminated against.
Let me
take a
ask you,
step further,
yeah.
You've got reverse discrimination where the federal law says that it's fine to discriminate for people because of their racial composition while being against whites. That's not right. We ought to get past this racial issue and, again, judge people based on merit, not based on their skin pigmentation, but that seems to be the tactic that the Democrats use on a regular basis. They've used it this year. They used it in 2012. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, remember the race card being played? That was in a Democratic primary up in New York. Charles
Rangel ran against a
hey, it's black versus
yeah.
Dominican.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Harry Reid on the Senate floor, we talked about that already. It's wrong, but yet they continue to do it.
And, of course, Congressman, it seems to me that it's acceptable in the media. Remember when Lindsey Graham and John McCain were taking Susan Rice to task over Benghazi? I remember more than one leftist pundit in the media talked about the optics of old white men attacking a black woman, and I found that to be offensive. It seems like old white men was said with disgust and, spitting. You know what I mean? But let me ask you, we had a president who in '08 ran as a healer, as a uniter. There was no green, red, blue. There was only purple. There's no black, white. Look at me. What happened? Did he ever intend, in your view, to bring the races together, or do you believe he intended from the get-go to divide?
I think he intended from the get-go to divide based on his conduct in office over the last 6 years. It's inescapable.
Yeah, and it's too late to probably change that at this point, I would imagine. I don't think you think he has any intention of changing it now?
I would be very much surprised if Barack Obama were to change his position. And I think over the last 6 years, racial relations have declined in large part because the Democrats have decided that this political strategy of dividing us by race has worked. And so I'm going to call him out on it. And I might be the only one calling him out on it. I might have a lot of friends and acquaintances who will do the same at the public policy level, elected people in Senate and the House and around the country. But it's got to stop, and the only way to make it stop is to shine the light of day on it and help people understand the depravity of what the Democrats are doing by making it race an issue. That's their backstop. Anytime they can't win a public policy debate, it boils down to race.
What's the
and
reaction?
That's repugnant to me, and it's wrong, and it should be repugnant to every American.
I'm sorry for interrupting. What's the reaction been from your fellow House members, if you've seen any? I know you might be away by now, and also your constituents.
Have not had any communications with fellow House members about the subject. We are in district work weeks now in our own districts. The reaction in the 5th Congressional District of Alabama has been very positive. It's been about time that someone is standing up to stop the Democrats from dividing us as they're dividing us. I just gave a speech to 100-something people by way of example, and I wasn't the scheduled speaker, okay? I was kind of an afterthought thrown in to address the audience, over 100 people, and after I was finished, after about 5 minutes explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing, it was a standing ovation.
And you plan on carrying this message forward once the House is back in session?
Oh, absolutely. Now, it's one of many messages that I intend on carrying forward. Now, it happens to be the one today that the news media has picked up on in a unexpected way. But I hope what is happening is that the American people are sitting up and taking notice of what the Democrats are doing, that it's a planned strategy on the Democrats' part, and that the American people ought to reject it because it's the wrong thing for America.
All right, Congressman, I appreciate you coming on and talking about it, sir. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Certainly.
Take care.
Y'all take care.
Congressman Mo Brooks, ladies and gentlemen, House Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee member. Certainly a lot on his plate. Of course, they're on vacation right now, or should I say back in the district. And a lot of the congressmen, by the way, take exception to the vacation tag. They're out of Washington, but they are in the district. They are giving speeches. They are meeting with constituents to an extent. I'm sure there's some R&R involved, and if the president deserves R&R, and so does the House. But this is very interesting. I'm sure we'll be talking more about this. And we'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show after the break. But first, stay tuned for your Newsmax Now update. Don't go away.